Hi you guys, this is my how to apply eyeshadow tutorial. I'm going to be using one eyeshadow palette, but I'm going to be doing two different looks with it. I'm trying to train your brain on how to look at one palette and use your imagination and create multiple different looks. Because how many times do you buy one palette and then 6 months later only 2 eyeshadows have been used? So you can use different shadows for different things and you don't have to look the same every day. So the eyeshadow palette that I'm using, this one from Victoria Beckham, I love her packaging, but I'm using this one because there are a few safe colors. I think safe colors are more like the browns, neutral tones, but then there also is purple and red. Most people would look at this palette and be like, this is pretty, this is pretty, this is scary, this is scary. Some people, unless you're like an artist and you enjoy these colors. But I'm gonna show you how you can use them and still make it look natural, and that way you can like train your mind to look at a palette that has 26 colors and you can experiment with them. Okay, so before we do this eyeshadow, we need to prep your eye. And I like to use primers. This look that I'm doing in particular, I want my eyelid to look as close to my skin tone color as possible. So I'm going to be using this one from Mercier. It is in color Wheat. The purpose of an eyeshadow primer is to help your eyeshadow stay on, prevent it from creasing, and it just brings out the true pigmentation of the eyeshadow that you're applying. So how I'm going to apply this primer is, it kind of has like a little bit of a lip gloss looking application. You want to go close to your lash line, and you just apply it like this, and then you're gonna buff up towards your eyebrow. So it's better to have it a little bit heavier on the lid and the crease, because that's where you're gonna be applying most of your color. So then once I get it packed onto my lid like so, it can be sloppy. You go in and you just kind of blend it out with a blending brush. And you want to work kind of quickly with this, because when you apply a primer, it's going to start setting. That's the purpose of it. So you want to move it around and get it exactly where you want it immediately. I recommend using a brush to blend this on. If you use your finger has oils, so it kind of defeats the purpose of a primer. You want to keep it as dry as possible on your lid. You don't want to mix any oils of any kind. Okay, so once you have your primer on, I like to go in with a translucent powder. This is the Mercier translucent powder. This is what I use under my eyes, around my nose. This powder, which I like, it's not gonna change the color of this primer. It's just gonna keep it very neutral. So I'm gonna go in with just a flat brush like this, and I'm going to dab it on. And the reason I do this is because the primer is going to be a little sticky. It's looking for a powder to grab to. So by using this powder, it's going to allow the shadow to glide very nicely over it rather than just sticking to it, because then it's very hard to blend. So we're going to do 2 eyeshadow looks. On this eye, I'm going to use just these 2 brown tones here. So if you're ever just looking for like a very natural, like even bridal, these are very safe colors to do. So this is going to be considered the transition color. We're going to apply that in the crease, and then we're going to do this one just in the corner, and we're going to kind of blend it very nicely, but it's going to be natural. You could wear this to work, you could wear it out if you wanted to, but there's not too much craziness to it. Okay, so I want to start by saying there are no rules to makeup. These are my opinions. This is what I like to do, and so don't take anything for Bible. When I'm doing eyeshadow, I like the color that I want to see the most. I want to apply that last. So in this case, I'm going to do the lighter shades first and then apply the darkest one after. So I'm going to build on it, and then when I want it to be really dark or like come out with a bang, that's when I do the darker shade. So I'm going to take this color here, and this is going to be my transition color. So I'm going to put some on a blending brush. I'm using this one from Beauty Blender. Always tap the excess off. You don't want to go in and have it be too dark. You can always layer it, like I said. So I always put it on my brush, tap, 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 and then I go in. When you're doing your crease, you don't want to go like this and look directly into the mirror. You kind of want to look down. I hope I don't have any boogers. Okay, I think I'm good. Okay, so you kind of want to look like this. So your crease is going to be right here, right where when you look into the mirror, you see it crease. Ding! So you want the blending brush to do a lot of the work for you. So what you'll do is tip your head back and you'll just kind of go like so. I want my eyeshadow to look like this. Go up and out. I don't really want it to pass this line underneath like here, because then it's gonna droop my eye. So I wanna keep everything up and out. Even kind of drag it up to the corner as I'm finishing, because I know there's not as much product. And I wanna put a little bit more on, so I'm gonna go in with my brush. I just applied a little bit extra. And then I'm gonna start here, because I want it to be a little bit darker on this side. So I'm gonna start the product here and work my way in towards the center. And you're just gonna do little windshield wiper motions back and forth, circle, circle, circle. When I applied the translucent powder, I brought it all the way up to my eyebrow. So that's kind of giving it a natural highlight now. By the way, look at this at the end of the Beauty Blender brush. Anyways. Okay, do you see how easy that was? Just a little foo-foo, woo-woo. So now I'm gonna go in with a very dense brush like this one, because it's dense, it comes to a point and it's gonna allow me to really have control over the product. When you are applying a darker shade, you don't wanna go in with a huge brush because it might get everywhere. So I'm gonna go in with this shade like so. So now I'm gonna do little flick motions like this going up with the products. And as you can see, I got a little bit of these little creases. That's okay. Then I'm gonna go in with the same blending brush that I used for caramel, and I'm just gonna dust all over it. So applying that translucent powder is gonna make this blending process extremely easy. Okay. As you can see, it blended out super easily. Okay, last but not least, I'm gonna go in with a concealer. So see how it's a little bit sloppy, it's maybe not as perfect as I want it to be, that's okay. So I'm gonna go with my concealer. One that I'm using is from DIOR, it's Forever Skin Correct, it's my favorite. I'm just gonna dot a little bit on my hands. Then I'm gonna go in with a very flat brush. See how flat this is? It's a lot, you want a straight line. And then I'm going to start. Remember that line that I showed you that I didn't want to go under? So you're gonna go right here like this at the corner of this eye. Go up towards your brow. See? I'm just gonna kind of go like this to soften that line. You don't want it to be a hard, straight line because then it looks like makeup. So now for the bottom, I'm gonna take just like a little very skinny angle brush. And I'm gonna go back in with the caramel, because this is a nice light brown. And I'm gonna go right down underneath my lash line. So this is the eyeshadow look that I created. Simple, 2 eyeshadows. If you see my eye, there's more attention drawn up and over here. So it's opening my eye, it's just waking it up. And so that's all I really wanted to do with something natural like this. I'm just gonna put a little bit of mascara on so it could look finished. Okay, so there is one eye done and the other one is not. So now I'm gonna do my tutorial. I'm gonna try to face this way as much as possible so I don't look crazy. Okay, so remember how I said the color that I want to see the most is what I'm going to apply last. We're gonna do that. So I am gonna start with this caramel color. I am gonna do the crease, but I'm gonna do it way lighter than I did on this side. So I'm gonna go in with a blending brush and I'm going to go very lightly. And I'm just gonna lightly dust over my lid. Okay, so I don't have a ton of lid going on right here. The second I go too far up, it's gonna look like a smoky eye, and I don't want that. So I want more attention to be towards the end of my eye here, and then I can lightly apply something here, but I'm gonna keep it as tight as possible because otherwise my eye will get shut very quickly. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in with this color here, it's called Rust. So this, I'm just gonna go in with this brush. I'm gonna go in with the red color here. And because I want the product to be darker on the outer corner, I'm gonna apply the product there first. The pressure on my brush is gonna be lighter and lighter the closer in that I go. Okay, so I did a little bit of this red. I'm gonna also take it down and do it on the bottom. Same thing, I want the outer corner to be a little darker. I'm not gonna go all the way in. I'm actually just gonna keep it right at the corner. And now I'm just gonna go in with a really dense blending brush like this one here, and I'm just gonna blend it like this. Because I don't want it to be a hard line, I actually want it to be soft and fluffy looking. And I'm gonna do the same flick motion. I'm just gonna always, whenever I'm doing the bottom, I'm just gonna keep flicking up. Now I'm gonna go in with this purple shade. This is called Oxblood, and I'm gonna go right over the red. So I'm just kind of blending these colors together now, the red and the purple. I'm gonna go in with this dense brush because I'm losing some of the red a little bit, and I'm gonna go in with the red. I'm gonna blend over it. So it's just a bunch of layering and blending. I really want to get this purple to pop, so I'm gonna start packing it on a little bit more. So I'm gonna come at the corner of my eye right where my crease ends, and that's when I'm gonna kind of drag it up a little bit. I wanna keep this wing that I'm creating very soft. I don't want it to be a hard line, so that's why I'm kind of dusting in, and I'm even using like my finger just to kind of like blend it up, because it's okay if it's not perfect. From looking at this, it doesn't look like red eyeshadow, it doesn't look like purple eyeshadow. I've kind of like blended the two, but I do want the purple to stand out. So you can obviously do this a little bit more dramatic. Surprisingly, I don't like to wear a lot of eyeshadow. I normally just wear mascara, so it's hard for me to see myself with eyeshadow on. Now I'm gonna go in with some mascara so you can see the finished look. Here are my two different eye looks. This one is just much more subtle than this side. I hope this inspires you guys to play with your palettes and use all your shades, because even if it looks like a color that you might not normally use, you can blend things and create things. So I hope you're inspired, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you subscribe.